Welcome to Football Scientific. I am Professor of Football Science Aaron Sauter, writer for FootballAnalysisOne.com. I have several articles published today. You're going to check those out as we approach championship weekend in the NFL. Also, I write for CFLNewsHub.com. I've written several CFL articles about the Hamilton Tiger Cats this week. And then UFL News Hub. Today was a big day in the UFL as the schedules for 2026 were released. We know who the Orlando Star are playing and everyone else who are playing and when they're playing. It should be a great time for everyone. If you're a UFL fan, it is time about time to get this thing going. Okay, today we're just going to go through the latest news. There's lots of it in the NFL and CFL and UFL. Let's get ready to break this down. But first we'll talk to our guest host, Tyler the Tiger. Tyler the Tiger here, ready to go. So, we're going to talk about the NFL and CFL and UFL, and we're going to talk about everything else in between, and just news. Professor, what do you think about Jesse Minter becoming the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens? Nice spoiler alert. You should have said that before. Nice spoiler alert. Okay. What about Robert Saleh getting a 5-year contract with the Tennessee Titans? I think we reported that before, so I think that's not a spoiler alert. Oh, good. I'm glad that's true. Okay, let's get started. Let's break it down. Here we go. So first, in the NFL, Houston Texans general manager came out. People are starting to blame each other for making bad moves, and the general manager brought in Joe Mixon 2 years ago. And he had a great year 2 years ago. But then this year he got injured. He injured his foot. And they're saying that he didn't get injured. It was not a football injury. He got injured outside of football. And the GM saying it wasn't like an irresponsible thing. It was a freak injury and he should be good to go. So they're not trying to release Joe Mixon. If they do, the Bengals should pick him back up. I'm just saying. Okay, San Francisco 49ers GM John Lynch says that Brandon Ayuk will never return as a 49er. This has been a weird year for Brandon Ayuk and the 49ers, and he said, John Lynch is saying no, never again. Buffalo Bills interviewed offensive coordinator Joe Brady for a head coach position, so we got to look at it at the poop show that is the Buffalo Bills currently. Pittsburgh Steelers, we lost that one playoff game, and everything's falling apart. Isn't that how it always goes in Buffalo? I know. Pittsburgh Steelers have completed an in-person interview with Mike McCarthy for their head coach position, and he doesn't like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers doesn't like him. One of those things are true. And Aaron Rodgers will probably bounce if Mike McCarthy becomes their new head coach. I just saw an article saying that people are front office are telling people to avoid the Steelers. Usually people want to be a Steelers coach because you got job security, but they're saying they're going to be cheap like the Bengals now, and they're not wanting to put the money out to make a championship team. So that's interesting. Kansas City Chiefs have officially agreed to a contract with new offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. He's replacing Matt Nagy. So Matt Nagy better get a head coaching job. He is done in Kansas City. Green Bay Packers, they intend to, they invited defensive back coach Al Harry for the D coordinator job. Minnesota Vikings, they got tired of hearing that Brian Flores was interested in becoming a head coach and getting interviewed for being a head coach, so they extended him for multiple years. So Brian Flores is not going to be a head coach. He's going to be a DC for the Minnesota Vikings. They really like him. That's good to see. Okay, New York Giants. Big move today. Senior VP of Football Operations, Kevin Abrams, who's been there for 27 years, got canned. He's a Canadian. He got canned. Okay, John Harbaugh also met with the coaching staff and told basically the whole defensive staff, y'all are gone, and special teams coordinator, you're gone. And he kept the offensive guys because they have relationships with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo. They didn't say that, but that's what that means. Green Bay Packers otherwise everyone would have been fired. That's it. Green Bay Packers former Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon is a front runner for the Green Bay Packers DC job. That's probably a good step down for him. He needs that. Baltimore Ravens, Bills offensive coordinator interview with Buffalo, but he interviewed with the Baltimore Ravens today. But that's over because the Baltimore Ravens have picked a coach already. So Joe Brady is not going to be the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. Tampa Bay Buccaneers finalized a deal for Falcons OC Jack Robinson as their OC. Interesting because, the Falcons hired Kevin Stefanski as their head coach. Baker Mayfield made some kind of rude comment about Kevin Stefanski, get some rude comments made about him, and back and forth. And now the Buccaneers have hired the recently fired OC Atlanta Falcons, Zach Robinson, as their OC. I'm not sure that's a good move or not. That offense was not that great. Philadelphia Eagles have requested to interview Bears offensive coordinator Declan Doyle as their new OC. We'll see what happens there, I guess. Buffalo, they run the ball line. They like that in Philly. Buffalo Bills have scheduled to interview Jaguars offensive coordinator Grant Udinski for their head coaching opening. I think that's just one of those monumental trophy things. They're not really trying to hire Grant Udinski. Some people like him, but I'm not a big fan. New York Giants, they have retained head athletic trainer Ronnie Brown, but he won't be the head athletic trainer anymore. He's been there for like 20-some years too. He's going to stay with the team, but he's not going to be the head athletic trainer. San Francisco 49ers, Christian McCaffrey, interesting fact here, is the first player in NFL history to have a chance to be he's in the finals for MVP voting, Offensive Player of the Year, and Comeback Player of the Year, all in the same year. So that's pretty wacky. Okay, it shows you what kind of injury history he's had. Dallas Cowboys are zeroing in on Chicago Chris Parks as their new defensive coordinator. They need to fix that defense, man. Detroit Lions offensive tackle Dan Skipper has retired from the NFL. He will be he's looking to go into coaching. He's going to be coaching at the East-West Shrine Bowl as an assistant offensive line coach coming up. Tennessee Titans, they have signed Robert Saleh as their new head coach. 5-year deal for him. He's going to do Cam Ward. We reported that a few days ago, but now it's official, and he has a 5-year contract. That seems standard. This hiring cycle. Baltimore Ravens have hired LA Chargers defense coordinator Jesse Minter to a 5-year deal as well, so he'll be leading the Chargers. And the Chargers will need another defense coordinator to join the new offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel. Buffalo Bills have interviewed Indianapolis Colts defense coordinator Lou Anarumo to be their new head coach. And the CFL, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have signed American defensive back Warren Burrell. They signed American defensive lineman Warren Peoples. A lot of Warren going on. Calgary Stampeders signed American defensive lineman Clarence Hicks. And Montreal Alouettes signed American defensive lineman Bryce Gaines. But wait, there's more. Winnipeg Blue Bombers have re-signed defensive end Willie Jefferson. And Ottawa Redblacks have locked up defensive back Bennett Williams for another season. So they re-signed him. And then Saskatchewan Roughriders have added defensive lineman Marcus Haynes. And then the Montreal Alouettes have signed 2 American players, defensive back Trey Jones III and defensive lineman Bryce Garman. And then I mentioned in the UFL, the new 2026 schedule was released today. I wrote an article breaking down the Orlando Storm schedule, so check that out. I think there's probably going to be an article about the whole schedule too, so check that out there. That was released today. That was pretty exciting. And then there's several roster moves made the last few days. So the Birmingham Stallions have released offensive tackle Wesley French. They released offensive tackle Jonathan Mendoza. And the Houston Gamblers released offensive tackle Zachary Thomas. The Birmingham Stallions signed offensive tackle Chris Cornea Jr. and defensive end Isaac Uwuk, who played for the Detroit Lions for a short time. Okay, his brother is now with the Hamilton Tiger Cats as well. They signed Dallas Renegades defensive tackle Dominique Davis. They added him. Dallas Renegades did. DC Defenders have signed cornerback Kai Gray. And the Orlando Storm have signed running back Elijah Dotson and defensive tackle Fabian Levesque, who played at Florida State. So a good local connection. I wrote an article about them on UFL News Hub today. Check that out on UFL News Hub. And then some more roster moves from today. UFL released, Columbus Aviators released wide receiver Amari Rogers, probably doesn't want to play. Houston Gamblers have released cornerback Damon Arnett. And Orlando Storm has released tight end J.J. Galbraith. It's their second tight end they've released, so maybe they're going 4 wide. Boom. Signed to new contracts are for the Birmingham Stallions, linebacker Marcus Bailey and offensive guard Preston Williams, both with the Birmingham Stallions. So that's a quick update of all the NFL news today, CFL news and UFL news. Check out that UFL schedule on UFL News Hub, and check out FOOTBALLANALYSIS1.com for my NFL articles, okay? And then make sure you like the video, share the video, and subscribe as we keep gaining momentum. We're getting a lot of momentum on TikTok too, so check that out. I'm going to go live on TikTok here after a while. Okay, all right, so we're going to close the scientific portal. Oh, on TikTok, we're going over to Seattle Seahawks offense right now. We're doing a deep dive into that. That's what you can see behind me. So that's pretty fun. All right, we're going to close the football scientific portal for now. Goodbye.